Hello there, listeners. Welcome back to a sad episode. We are at the end of our Star Wars watch-along. Today, we are talking about the Rise of Skywalker. I am the CGI'd C-3PO, and I'm here with the real-life animatronic BB-8, Rob. Hello, Rob.
I'm the edited in after posthumously edited in dialogue.
So, Rob, here we are. We're at the end of this. I don't know about you, right? To start with this, what are you, 9 films in? I thought, oh god, I've got to watch Attack of the Clones, and oh god, I've got to watch this and that. But actually, suddenly, I don't want it to end. I want to carry on with more of this.
Yeah, it's been quite interesting sort of watching them all, well, in chronological, which I've not really done before, and then just watching them back to back like this.
Yeah.
It's just because I was looking at, I was comparing my scores for these films to. Every time I watch a film, I always rate it on IMDb, so I was comparing them, and some have gone up, some have gone down.
Well, I haven't actually put my score down for this on our little shared notes.
You're keeping it
at the end. So
yeah, I'm not quite sure what you, because going. I can't remember if we must have discussed it when it first came out, but we've not discussed it since. So I can't remember what your take is on this. So we'll have to see as we go through it.
Look, I'm gonna, as I think regular listeners will know, we've done this every week. On our notes, you start off and you say, crap CGI or really good opening crawler. For me, all of my notes are positive, and I've got to say, I remembered this as being crap, and I actually enjoyed it way more than I remembered. Whether that means The Last Jedi has sort of soured me off a little bit, and this felt a bit better, I don't know. But let's get into it, shall we?
Well, the opening crawl, before we even talk about the film,
yeah.
I think that, and I know you could probably defend it by saying, they're meant to be like that, but the opening crawl for this is pretty bad.
It's not great, is it?
There's a mysterious voice of Palpatine, and just what? I remember seeing that for the first time and thinking, oh my gosh, you're kidding me? They're really just bringing Palpatine back again.
So if that was nowadays, they'd be like, I mean, again, it's not that much time has passed, so there must be people. I mean, you've got Richard E. Grant in this now. Imagine someone of his age would say, oh, is Palpatine back? I thought he was dead. I thought they very quickly edited out. Oh no, Snoke. Yeah, clone Snoke. So before we start this, so the first scene is Kylo Ren. It says he's raging through the galaxy, isn't he? Looking for this voice.
That's a good dramatic start, isn't
really
it? It throws
good
you straight.
Start.
It's almost like they call it cold opening, don't they?
And actually, it's a limb cut off in the very first scene.
Yes.
And I thought, here we go. We're back to George Lucas style here. I've got an here. Yeah, great opening, good slow motion cutting.
When they show you, I know Rey definitely does it because she chops through that piece of stone, but they show them chopping through trees and stuff like that, don't they? Lightsabers.
Yes.
So I'm guessing they're burning their way through the tree, because obviously, no matter how strong you are, you're not going to hit a sword through a tree.
No, not at all.
So a lightsaber must obviously be obliterating the wood, so it doesn't need the same amount of force as an axe. So when people are getting hit by lightsabers, and he's hitting people on a lightsaber, imagine if they did like a R-rated 18 certificate version of this, like they did with Logan, when they actually got around to showing, well, this is actually what would happen, not what happens in the X-Men films.
Yeah. And
he's lobbing people up. Someone with a lightsaber just sliced in half, here, there, and everywhere.
Kylo Ren sort of like does this. I don't know what the move's called, but he almost like punches him and lifts him in the air with the enemy across his chest with the lightsaber, and he sort of whacks him into the ground. And I thought, wouldn't that have just chopped him in half?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, didn't Obi-Wan cut Darth Maul in half, didn't he?
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course we've had people lobbed in half. Yes, it would probably be a bit disturbing seeing all those people chopped up. I mean, there wouldn't be any blood because the lightsaber would cauterise all the wounds.
Cauterises the wound straight away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But there we go. So I really like the look of the Emperor's new base, his lair. I don't know if this style has been used before, or whether I've seen it in artworks. you know when a building is very, I think it's in Stargate actually, a massive building, very, very low to the ground, and it's got like a gap underneath it. I love that. I don't know if is that like Egyptian architecture or something, I'm not sure. But I really like it. I like that sort of dark grey palette.
It just puts it, yeah, it just makes it seem a little bit off, doesn't it? And then you got all that lightning.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of weird because it looks like there's about like these big empty spaces and like about half a dozen people wandering around. Yeah, and you see, isn't it right? Do you see Snoke right at the start, or is it a little bit later? I can't remember.
Is it where Kylo Ren walks through and there's like a vat, isn't there?
And there's a couple of Snokes in there.
There's a couple of Snokes in there, and I'm like, what do you reckon?
I mean,
what do you reckon?
See, this is one of these problems which, as an overall criticism, where they've obviously, and I don't know if this fault lies with Kathleen Kennedy, the producer, because you don't have a Kevin Feige, I mean, you hear about people like Joe Johnston in Captain America, and Joss Whedon was getting frustrated with doing Avengers, saying, the Marvel are quite interfering and telling you, you've got to do this, you've got to do this, but Marvel can go, well, whatever, jog on then if you're not happy with it, because look at the success of that.
Yeah, it's working, isn't it?
And Star Wars could do that because, they introduced Snoke, and then in the second film they get rid of Snoke, and then they're kind of left with the leftovers of that, haven't they? So bringing Abrams back, he's got to kind of tidy that up again.
Yeah.
To go, oh, actually, Snoke was,
It was a clone.
And then, you've got them saying, in the first one, Abrams going, her heritage might be really important. And then Ryan Johnson's gone, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to say it's worth nothing. Yes. And then the third one, it's like, no, let's go back to saying that again.
Yeah, can you imagine? I don't know which way.
Ryan Johnson has Luke just discarding a lightsaber, and then he tells Rey off for doing that.
Was it Ryan Johnson the one who's sort of ripping up the rule book, or it was? So it wasn't when. Yeah. You can't imagine Ryan Johnson at the opening night of this, and he's there and he goes, "What? Come on, Jesus! I've done all this stuff."
It's just like it feels like they've written each one at a time.
Yeah. There's
rather than having an overall 3-film plan at the start. Yeah. I mean, I guess the big problem was Carrie Fisher's death, wasn't it? Because I imagine she would have had a more prominent role in this. But
do you know what?
Though, I don't know.
I don't know where a CGI. Was there any CGI Carrie Fisher? Because I've got to say it was quite well hidden off.
Well, it's Force Awakens outtakes, isn't it? And I guess they must have had a. So they've obviously got a bunch of dialogue of hers because it doesn't look too bad, but you can kind of tell she's not there, can't you? You can tell it's fitted in with other footage, and so they've got a bunch of lines, and I guess they've written the scripts so Rey's saying things to lead into that line, because there's a few things that she says that doesn't quite flow. It's like the script's doesn't seem particularly natural. But
a little note I've got here: Emperor looks great without all that shit on his face.
Well, yeah, but there's funny bumpy bits on his forehead.
Scaled it back now, haven't they? And they've gone, right, Emperor now, like he was in Return of the Jedi or something like that.
Yeah, he's got zombie hands and he's got zombie eyes.
Yeah, but that's okay as well. There were lots of underlying things in this, and sorry, I'm skipping to the end here as well, but that thing of reabsorbing Rey and Kylo into the Emperor to try and take your power, and then there's that thing with Rey giving away some of her power to heal somebody, and then so is that meant to be a mirror image of, so the Emperor takes it away but Rey gives it out, or am I clutching at straws here? I don't know.
I don't know, because they don't really, again, they just left things dangling, because then she does lightning, and you think, well, is that just meant to be something that only the Sith can do?
Sorry, listeners, we had a little bug then, so we had to restart recording there. So yeah, we got this ice base planet thing, and then they're getting attacked, aren't they? And again, it's that Falcon going through tight spaces, and obviously TIE fighters are crap.
And Abrams just having the camera racing around after them, and you really feel like the Falcon's flying fast.
It's great, isn't it? And there's that light speed skipping coming in and out. And I just thought they were like, oh, we've got all these different planets that we never got to use. Let's just chuck them in. And we've got, an ice planet, a desert planet, this planet, that planet. And they're like, we managed to use them.
See, with this bit where you've got Chewie and Poe and Finn, I'd be quite happy to watch the film with those guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's just three cool guys there, just hanging out, having adventures. It's just Poe. Actually, one of the things that does bug me with Poe is it's a bit like Return of the Jedi, where it feels like Han Solo doesn't really have a story arc. So in this one, it's like, we don't really have a story arc for him, so let's just start referencing his past, making it like he's some kind of drug dealer or something.
He's a spy.
I just wish he wasn't dressed like a cross between Uncharted, Nate Drake, and He's even got like a side bag thing like Indy, and it's just, as my son said, I'm being picky. He's wearing the right clothes to be on a desert planet, so stop being picky.
Fair enough. But you always wonder, so we were chatting about John Boyega, weren't we? How he's definitely stepped it up now. He seems a lot more confidence. He's kind of got it going on now, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's cool. It's just like a slip. It's still just as likable, but it's kind of different. He's sure in his footing, isn't he, about stuff? Just, especially when he just goes to the guns and he's like, well, hey, I shot one like he was before.
I'm on it now.
Yeah.
I'm on it. Okay, I've got a question for you. Has any Jedi ever finished their training? Because in this one we got Rey running along logs and jumping in the air and doing things and trying to find the Force. Great bit of foreshadowing there. Are you with me? Are you with me? And he's like, no, I'm not. Because then it's like, oh, Kylo Ren's after us. I've got to go. I've got to leave. I've got to help my friends. Luke did it. Obviously, Anakin was getting his mentor got killed immediately.
Well, it's almost like, it just makes me think, if you have someone that's so naturally powerful like Rey is.
Yeah.
Because Luke didn't have. How much training did Luke have? It's rocks again, isn't it? Floating rope.
He had 5 minutes in Dagobah with Yoda on his back.
It couldn't have been long at Dagobah. And they said about he was too old. So Rey's clearly too old, not had much training, and then they're taking on the big bads of the Sith. So you just think, when you see one of those little Padawans, those little kids, imagine if one of those kids was really powerful and actually had full training from Yoda, they'd be just overpowered, wouldn't they? They'd just take everyone out. It'd be great.
Yeah, because they said Anakin was too young, and what was he, 10-ish?
Too old.
Sorry, too old.
Yeah, he was too old. Well, Luke was definitely.
But then they also say, don't they, that Vader was one of the greatest Force users, or the greatest. He was the greatest pilot. He was the greatest Force user. So is that the longest person we've ever had in continent? I know he's dark side, or is it the Emperor? Maybe the Emperor's been the longest living.
Anakin's training was cut short as well, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, Anakin had the shortest training in the world, didn't he?
Qui-Gon was trained, but then his mentor was Dooku, wasn't he? So he was a bad one. So I guess Yoda and Mace Windu, perhaps that's what happens. Yoda and Mace Windu are the only ones to have trainers that actually saw them all the way through to their graduation day.
Robin in a spreadsheet or a Venn diagram showing Padawans mixed in with their teachers and who had the longest training. So
I like seeing Rey doing the training. I think that's pretty good. I still like Daisy Ridley. I still think she's great.
She's just fabulous and cheerful and happy.
It feels a bit. I mean, people said, I've heard this criticism before about it feels like computer game plotting. We've got to go over here to get this thing, and then you have to go and find a character to go and talk to, and then they talk to Lando, and part of me thinking, this is the cutscene in the computer game when you have to go and talk to someone.
You say that, Rob, right? Just to plot. So at the minute we're building a pizza oven in our garden, right? And I cannot tell you the amount of times I've gone, right, okay, we need 8 bags of sand, 2 bags of cement and a bag of ballast. Do it, mix it all up, and I've only got like half the amount. So imagine if this is a film, they'll be like, really? He's going back to being cute again for more sand? so maybe the giant, epic thing, they'll be like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Right, although I love the fact there's only 2 of these triangular MacGuffins that they can use. Luckily, they're both here within 60 years light sleep. You put on the notes Lando. I think Lando's shoehorned into this for some nostalgia, isn't he?
I mean, whether they always plan to do that, I don't know. But obviously, straight after the first one, then you've got the tease that Luke's going to be in it. So fans were looking for all those legacy characters, so they had to have Lando. It felt weird if they'd not had Lando, don't you think?
Do you know what? If he wasn't in it, I don't think I'd have missed him. I thought it was like, it's okay, not... fine. So we go to this planet, don't we? And they've got this again, Star Destroyer quite low in the atmosphere, don't they? And it's this celebration of life with these kind of like little piggy.
Yeah, that bit's okay.
The colours were fab. Again, that was... So I'm watching this on Disney in 4K, and the colours looked absolutely fabulous.
Some of it looks practical as well. Looks like puppetry and masks rather than CGI as well, which is good.
Yeah, I like that. I like the... I'll put on my notes, Stormtrooper jet ski bike things. I quite like them more than I remembered.
That chase, some of the rear projection looks proper ropey on it when they're just... Yeah, when they're... I'm not sure, the flying jetpack stormtroopers. That whole chase thing doesn't do a lot for me.
Oh, I enjoyed it more than I remembered, actually. Yeah.
See, I was starting to lose a bit of interest during that chase, and then they crash and they fall in that quicksand and sink through it, and then it's...
Hold on a minute, go back. You put on here Finn's tease, right?
Yeah, when they're in the quicksand.
Okay, for me, that was like, we're in quicksand. Oh, I've got to tell you something. There was no build-up to it. It wasn't like, Ray, help me, you know.
And the annoying thing is, because Poe mentions it again. You can't mention it in front of me. Is that what it is? And then they mention it again later on. So 3 times they tease this without actually having a full conversation of what it means. What was the point of doing that?
Was there meant to be a love story in there that just didn't get fulfilled, or what? I still feel like there was a Finn Force underlying story or a love story. Because don't we get another glance? Because there's a couple of mentions of Finn feeling something, isn't there, in this?
I think it's probably going to be a Force thing. Like I've got a feeling I've got the Force. I can only imagine he was going to say that. Yeah. So the second time he mentioned it, I can't remember what the third time he mentioned it, but it just keep coming up, and I just find it. It's just annoying teasing that stuff when you know there's not going to be a film after it just to resolve it. So why bother?
Now, when we see... So, in Last Jedi, we see Rey picking up loads of rocks out the back of that weird red sanded planet. You know, the one where he has that... rocks. And at the start of this, she's in a training. She's lifting up all these rocks.
Lifting those rocks. It's all about lifting rocks.
Right. Why can't she lift herself up out of that quicksand? If nobody else could lift yourself up, couldn't you, to safety?
Lift yourself up and everyone else.
Yeah, if you can't do everyone else, get yourself out into dry land and then lift everyone else up.
The only thing then, if you could lift yourself with the Force, are you essentially all Jedi's able to float? just float around. Or
do you have to have something to push against? So do you need, it's like in water. If you try to jump in water, you don't do anything, do you? You just kind of like...
So if you stand on something, so if I stood on a dustbin lid and used the Force to lift the dustbin lid with me on it, I'd be able to float around like Silver Surfer. No,
what I mean is, if you were on a parachute and you were 20 feet off the ground, you wouldn't. No Force would, because you've got nothing to. There's no ground to push against. But if you were 1 foot off the ground, you're quite close to the ground, so you've got something to propel yourself against. So, like underwater, if you're underwater and you put your feet against the wall, swimming, and welcome to our swimming podcast. Anyway, there we go. I don't know. Right? I felt like the weird snake monster was a little bit of an exposition dump there, wasn't it? It was like, I've been hurt. Let's do this and that, and we found such and such's dagger. And
it's new. It is, and it's revealing her new powers, and also I just think, what was on the dagger? The location of Palpatine.
It is, and it's also the shape of the crashed Death Star, isn't it?
So the Death Star crashed. They hid something, but the guy thought, just in case I forget, I'll make a dagger in that shape because it's crashed there in the sea. I'm sure it'll look like that forever.
yeah. In 30 years' time, it's still exactly the same.
Again, it's computer game plotting, isn't it? It's just that thing where, I mean, fantasies, I suppose novels do this all the time. It's MacGuffins, isn't it? You need to get this thing to get that thing. Objects.
And do you think Rey is leveling a bit like in the Fallen Order game? You can only do these abilities at the start, and as you level up, you can then do force. Do you reckon Rey has just leveled up to force healing?
She has.
At that
That's
point?
Exactly what she's happened, yeah. And then when they're looking at wow, she's unlocked that new skill already. by pressing two buttons at the same time.
I think it was this point I put on my notes, Anthony Daniels' agent has done a good job here. There's a lot of 3PO in this, isn't there?
Compared to the other ones, my gosh, yeah. I can't actually think, what does he actually do in Last Jedi?
Almost nothing. Oh, he's got a red arm. He's got a red arm, and he's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. Hello, I've got a red arm now." I mean,
what scene does he? I can't think of a single scene in Last Jedi. He must do something.
He does. He's got a red arm, and he talks to Princess Leia.
And then this is out there carrying Chewie's bowcaster.
Yeah.
Trying to have these emotional beats about losing his memory, and I'm just having one last minute to look at my friends. Are they his friends? How much time has he spent with these characters, if you think about it?
Everyone treats him like shit as well. So you think...
Like Poe Dameron's not his friend. How much time has he spent with Finn?
Next to nothing. Again,
unless a lot's happened between the last two films.
Are they trying to do that thing here of, again, have your... It's the Sam out of Lord of the Rings, isn't it? It's the least powerful background character saving the day.
I don't know. I don't know what
they could have done more, you know. Oh, no. What have we got here? You put Bubba Frick and Poe's an ex-girlfriend in a helmet, ZZZ. Yeah, that's...
This section, because somewhat my interest is sort of waning a bit. So it's got the sand bit, yeah. They've got the bit when we've
cut ahead up. We've got
it in a different order here, haven't we? Yeah, because there's a bit where you think Chewie's dead, and no one in the audience would be thinking that Chewie's dead.
No.
So what the cool bit actually is that bit when she jumps over the TIE fighter, which
that was
feels
so
a little
good.
bit.
That was so good. I loved it.
Knights of Ren, that's another example, isn't it, where Abrams brought the Knights of Ren in. There's a tease for Knights of Ren in the first film.
Yes.
Sorry, Force Awakens kind of thing. Then no one mentions them. And then they're back again striding around the place.
Could you watch Force Awakens and then this directly after? And if you cut out The Last Jedi, could you get away with it, do you think? I'm trying to think now whether it would have made much...
Well, you'd be confusing with Luke.
Oh, I suppose so. I wonder if there's a cut out there of The Last Jedi, because
Kylo's not really developed that much, has he? I mean,
not really.
I mean, I know they've introduced all the chemistry between him and Rey and having that link, but they really push that here, don't they? And the grabbing items.
Oh, that was. No, I quite like that, and I like the bit where she on the ship and he's down on the city. And she cuts open, and is it like flowers or red beads or something?
It's like some fruit or something that's in the storage jar.
Yeah,
all that stuff with and I have no idea her name. She's completely forgettable and boring. The Poe Dameron's ex with the helmet on.
Crick or Balak. She's a new character. She's a character in Fortnite now, isn't she? So I saw that today, but I was like, just
boring. I was I honestly fast forwarded to those bits.
Do you know who the actor is for that? Because when she's there, she's chatting, and she went,
"Yes,
Poe," and click up your visor, and I thought, "Oh, I'm meant to know who this is," and I don't know.
She's it's where Abrams has people reappearing. She's in you know the Abrams Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
Isn't it her at the start who gets killed, dies in the helicopter when the helicopter?
I can't remember now. I should have IMDb'd this.
I think it's actually Killing Eve. I've been watching Killing Eve.
Yeah.
Jodie Comer is her name.
Oh, okay.
That's in Free Guy.
I don't know. I'll have to have a look.
Wait. No, not. I'm talking about a different person now. You know, in Killing Eve, there's you've seen the posters of Killing Eve, haven't you? With a blonde, Irish. I think she's an Irish actress in real life. I'm not sure what she is.
Is that her?
No, she's Ray's mum. Ray's mum in those little quick flashbacks.
Oh, I didn't spot that.
Yeah, so that girl is basically, the girl with the helmet jumping around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was, the other thing I know, she's in another Abrams thing. Because another thing with Abrams, the X-Wing pilot with the beard, he's in a load of Abrams things.
What, he's at Heroes, he's the cop at Heroes,
he's in Heroes, yeah.
I remember
he's the pilot flying the plane in the opening episode of Lost, which Abrams did.
Oh, yeah.
The guy out of Lord of the Rings and Lost.
Yeah, Dominic Monaghan, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, because he worked with Abrams as well, so that's another one where Abrams put him in. So, you get mated with Abrams, he keeps you in mind for roles, I guess.
Yeah, these side roles, doesn't he?
I think that bearded guy, I can't think what his name is, the cop out of Heroes, I don't know if he's been in every Abrams film, maybe. He keeps cropping up in things. Maybe.
I quite like him because he gets told off, doesn't he, for being too pessimistic. So I quite like that. So at this point, I thought to myself, wait a minute. And I noticed, did you notice all the bad guy / Sith ships have smoky exhausts? I don't know if you noticed this. I noticed this quite a lot. At this point, I was made aware of it, and I went, wait a second. And there's various ships going on, and you see like the smoky exhaust, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's like, some proper moustache twirling there because they're really, really bad guys.
No, and I didn't pick that up. This is where my interest had really gone in the movie. So that bit when they sort of cross over and have like a little fight, that's quite interesting. But then they end up with, I don't know, they fly off and crash on a ship. Why do they end up where the crashed Death Star is? All that stuff was, I think I zoned out.
Well, they go to fetch Chewie, so there's another. Again, this is that thing, isn't it? Was this a bait and switch here, where they land? They've got that little disc that Poe's ex-girlfriend gave them. They get this disc. Even though they get this disc and they go and they land on this Star Destroyer, no one says, "Wait a minute, what's this crap ship? We got a disc."
Two clone troopers just turn up.
Yeah, but then they shoot them, and I thought at that point they were going to do the old steal the uniforms. So they go in. You've got the General Hux fake out, haven't you? You've got Richard E. Grant being, a good ham there.
All this stuff is pants.
There's a little bit of that thing, isn't there? I thought it was a little take on the New Hope. So, in New Hope where Vader says to that guy, your lack of faith is disturbing. Well, Kylo does the same sort of thing here, doesn't he? To one of the staff there, and he whacks him up to the ceiling. I thought, oh, okay, are you doing like a little bit of a take on that? So they get.
Why would you bother having meetings with your next in commands when you don't want their opinion on anything anyway? You're only going to get across and kill them. It's like cheesy Bond villain cliche. Even that. I just thought,
I'm out.
It's done too many times. Seen it so many times.
So
his conversation with Rey, and I'll say because he catches up there, doesn't he? Realise she's there, and then he turns up and starts talking to Rey, who jumps through space and catches onto the Millennium Falcon, which is blowing all the clone troopers everywhere with its exhaust.
Yeah,
he's hanging in there because he's a tough guy, and I'm thinking, what's Rey doing when that's going on?
Rey's underneath though. Oh, so I was looking at this. So you've got the exhaust is above where Rey is.
Oh, okay.
So it's about that's my get out there. So they get and that. They go off. They go off to. We're back into Endor, aren't we? One of them.
And they introduced that new girl with all these not seahorses, furry
six-legged
things by the sea.
And they're all ex-stormtroopers, aren't they?
And some another new character who I don't care about. I'm not interested.
Yeah, were we meant to? Was that meant to be another thing, as if to say, not all stormtroopers are bad? Look here, here are some stormtroopers who sort of
no idea the point of it. Just don't care.
No, yeah,
just don't care about it. And they even tease like her later. There's a bit later when she's talking to Lando near the end, and the camera really hangs on her.
Yeah, and it's let's go.
Yeah, like in a way as if like you'll find out more of these later, but no one gives a damn about her.
So Rey goes inside the Death Star. She's looking around. You see, obviously, Emperor's throne room. There's this secret door, isn't there, that she finds.
And all this time, I'm thinking, Rose is going to turn up any second now and save the day. Because everyone loves Rose. Everyone loves Rose from The Last Jedi. So where's Rose in all this? Because it's like obviously Abrams has again taken it over and
sidelined her properly for this one.
Like her.
Yeah, you're out.
What do you think the actress would feel about that? She'd be a bit hurt, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I bet she was like, "Oh, I had this great emotional scene with Finn in the last film. This one's gonna be great." And they're like, "Oh, I've got like 2 minutes of screen time saying I'm staying here to do this," and she's like, "Ugh," through gritted teeth.
Yeah, and then she has a scene where she's saying something to Princess Leia, but obviously she wouldn't have been there. So on set, she's just talking to nobody, and that's your scene.
Yeah, talking to Ahmed Best in a Princess Leia CGI head. So we see
white facing.
We see like up a judge. I think his joke's coming out. So we see the battle between Rey and Ren on the sea. That is fantastic. That's a poster.
I woke up again.
That's
honestly,
a poster there. Yeah.
My attention was so losing it, and this all woke me back up again. I just thought, whoa, hang on a minute. This film's got a cool lightsaber fighter. I don't remember this lightsaber being this cool. That's a really good fight, though.
It's really good. I like that.
His style is. He's got like a slightly clumsy way of moving, don't you think?
Who, Kylo or
the
camera?
Kylo, he's got like
I don't know.
He's always got like goes low to the ground, quite weight. It's like he's not a natural. Fluid dancer or anything. I quite like it. He does a lot of crouching when he's doing his.
It's almost like he's got a heavy broadsword, and Rey has got like a lightweight.
And I wonder if they've done that on purpose. Yeah, just to show the difference.
That's like the Mandalorian with that heavy blade, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess it was all intentional thinking about it.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's good. Not too sure about what's going on at the end of that fight though.
Well, Princess Leia stops him with a force interjection. Rey nicks his ship, does a runner, and then
Harrison Ford turns up
for another paycheck. I've got to be honest, I was getting the feels a little bit there. It's like, oh, it's about his fathers and sons again. Oh, it's that, oh God, it's a redo of that.
What I couldn't stop thinking about with this is during this year, what year is Rise of Skywalker? How old is this now?
Don't know. 6-7 years, something.
Harrison Ford looks noticeably older in this than he did in Force Awakens, I think.
Yeah.
And yet he's made an Indiana Jones film since this.
Right.
And that's all I could think about. There was no emotion in this scene for me of him bonding with his dad again, because I thought he's not a Force ghost, so what's he talking to? A memory of his dad? I don't know what's going on here. But I just couldn't help but thinking, look how old you are, and 5 years after this, you've made an Indiana Jones film. How on earth is this new Indiana Jones film going to work?
Oh, who knows?
So, so I was a little bit distracted thinking about that.
Is that because... So he has that Force memory of his dad because Rey saved him. So Rey's giving him some Jedi love, magic, healing things. Good vibes. And she nicks his ship. How does he get back out of there? And also, Rey's is quite a pain in the arse by nicking that little boat thing. So, are all Force users good at sailing as well? Don't know.
Well, we talked about this last episode. If you're a Force user, basically do anything. But she's never flown a TIE fighter before. She hops into Kylo's TIE fighter and just flies off. Why would you have ever flown a TIE fighter before?
It's like cars. Most cars are fairly the same. But do you think it's like if you drove an X-wing, it's like a car, but a TIE fighter is like a bike, and you get on, you're like,
Have you ever played? You ever picked up an Xbox controller after playing on a PlayStation?
Yes.
And your brain just goes,
what? I don't know.
What? Though it's still got 2 thumbsticks and 4 buttons on the right hand side. It's still basically the same thing, and your brain just goes, what? But if you were Force sensitive, you'd be able to jump between Xbox controllers and PlayStation controllers quite easily. You see, if you were Force sensitive, it'd be no problem for you.
Or being under the age of 20 as well.
Did you get a little bit emotional when Leia dies?
No, but I got emotional when Chewie started crying.
I got the feels when Chewie cries. Why is that?
I don't know what it is. Is it because he's one of the characters we love more?
I think because even though the camera starts moving away from when he does it, but when he just falls to his knees and he's like, rolling, he's like really showing the anguish, isn't he? Instead of just shedding a little tear, he's really pain. And I felt really sorry for him.
Yeah.
Because I just thought all his mates now from the original trilogy, they're all dead.
That's what my wife said. With them, my wife was like, "That's it. Chewie's the only one left now." I was like, "Oh no!"
All his friends are dead.
It was the same when same when Han got killed, wasn't he? It was the same with them. So we're in disagreement here, Rob. We get to the Emperor's planet, space place, and I've put on here a great space battle, and you like nope.
It's a space battle again.
Come on, there was a flipping over X-wing. I was like, X-wing turning over.
Boring.
And then
it's just CGI. It's just CGI models floating around.
I like
boring.
that. So
space battles.
Quite liked Rey turning up, and I thought the Emperor was quite good doing that kind of.
Let's have a battle. You can watch your friends out the window again.
Yeah, you're okay. You're not going to kill me, so I'll just kill everyone else to make you kill me. So it's like, okay, then Kylo is now good, so he turns up and he gives his Knights of Ren an ass kicking, doesn't he? Just thought it was
a super quick ass whipping. It's a shame they didn't make that a little bit more of a set piece, actually, because it's good, but it's just over too quick.
Yeah, he's done, and I quite like it's swapping over the lightsaber behind the back and all that.
Yeah, I like that bit.
That's pretty good. Then we've got what's going. So then it's them two against the Emperor. And we've got.
I was losing interest again at this bit.
There's lots of monologuing going on. It's like,
they're just talking at him,
and then it's like, I can.
Yes. What's that all about? I need you to kill me so I can have your power. Oh, never mind. If I just do this weird thing where I suck your soul out your bodies, I'll become super powerful because you're.
Again, I go back to my thing that I always say in movies like, why hasn't the Emperor got like a handful of, I'll say stormtroopers, but any mercenaries? And when Rey and Ren turn up, just shoot him in the legs. So they're kind of like lying on the floor, shot up, and he can just suck their souls. But there we go. So then there's this hoo-ha, isn't there, about this little telescopic tower projector thing. It's
all tedious.
Yeah,
that is.
When the Emperor brings all these ships out the ground right at the
From
start.
where have they been all this time? Where's all the staff on them been all this time?
Where are all the staff? Or are there thousands of people living on this world that have been trained? Because you do see some of them on Richard E. Grant's ship, and they've all got uniforms.
And they've all got red stylings, haven't they, on the clothes? And there's red troopers.
What's going on with this? But again, we've got that final sort of
this
down,
bit with
down on that
when
look.
she hears all the when she hears all the voices.
I like that.
I rewound that bit and put the subtitles on.
Okay.
And that's quite interesting if you do that,
And so I recognise Mace Windu.
Yeah, Mace is into it.
I'm assuming the
first bit comes up as young Obi-Wan.
Okay.
So I guess. Then it says Obi-Wan, so I guess it's meant to be like an Alec Guinness bit.
Yeah.
It says AD, so AD Galia, I think, is in it. Possibly Luminara, I think, as well. Is she one of the old Jedis?
Okay.
Ahsoka Tano says her name's on there as well.
Yoda? Was Yoda
Yoda's on there. Yeah. Anakin a few times.
Okay.
Says a few lines. Qui-Gon's in there.
Brilliant. Yeah, I recognise quite a few. Mace Windu,
because when they're all saying stuff, it's weird because I couldn't actually separate them off. So I was trying to listen out for Ahsoka Tano's voice, thinking if I'd pick it up, and I couldn't really tell the difference. And as soon as you watch it back with subtitles on, it's like, I think, how did I not notice?
Yeah,
Liam Neeson's lovely voice there.
It's easily missed, isn't it? So then
I wish they'd all been Force Ghosts instead.
Oh yeah, that would have been a bit like in Return of the
when she's
King.
like, I'm all the Sith, and she says, I'm all the Jedi. What would have been so cool then is all a bunch of Sith ghosts standing behind him. My daughter wasn't watching the whole thing with me. She was in the room to see this end bit. And when I said, wouldn't it have been great if all the ghosts had turned up to help him? And she'd gone, no, because that's exactly what happens in Harry Potter.
Well, and in Lord of the Rings, isn't it? So, it'd be like,
you can't do that.
But it would have been good. But I like that. I don't know if there's a terminology for that, but it's that thing where all the action stops, so it's in slow motion, and Rey's in that moment of awakening, and it's the I am one with the Force, and the Force is one with me, and that's a true awakening or true opening to the true power of the Force. And then, of course, it's a regular lightsaber can just stop the Emperor's lightning. I'm assuming that's what it is, or do you have to be truly one with all Jedi to stop the lightning?
I don't know. It's like Wonder Woman's bracelets things, isn't it? It's just like, where's the power coming from, you or the bracelet, I suppose?
I don't know. So it's all that power's been sucked out of there. It's all getting together, and he's kind of just getting sort of sucked apart. And then
and I'm thinking, just end this film.
I was all right with this, and then we get that, the battle is finally done. There's a bit, isn't there, where the Emperor sends the lightning out, and all the ships falling, and you think they're falling for a considerable amount of time here. How far
are they also falling in space?
Well, no, they can't be, because they're...
Are they in upper atmosphere?
Yeah, I don't know. How long do you get him to fall? Is it like a couple of minutes? Is it less time than you think, actually? And it just felt like a long time. And then all of these ships turn up, including Lando and Chewie.
See, my biggest issue with this film, is where I feel a little bit of disappointment, is, when you've had years of Marvel films, Avengers Assembles really feels like a great finale.
Yeah.
When you've sat through, especially the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings, or read the Lord of the Rings books, when it gets to that end, it feels like a great finale. On its own, I get Return of the King, the ending feels like it goes on a bit. But if you watch it, if you sit over, spend a weekend watching all the long extended versions, it feels earned, it feels deserved. And I just think, well, from the 70s, growing up with Star Wars and having all the prequels and the cartoon Clone Wars filling in the gaps, this ending should have been like Avengers Assemble emotionally. There should have been something there which just made me feel, wow, you've really nailed the landing there. And it didn't, does it? It just felt like another okay Star Wars film.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It was good, and I smiled and I went, oh yeah, oh great, oh cool. But it wasn't that massive, mega feeling that you're expecting to get.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, never mind. And then I remember this at the time, Rob. They all go back to that sort of planet, and again it was that thing reported. It was like, Star Wars has its first openly gay character, and it's that woman who's the commander, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With the headscarf, in a literally blinking you'll miss it cut out gay scene. And I thought, Disney being Disney there, pretending to be progressive but not really doing anything. Chewie gets his medal. It's only taken 50 years to get his medal.
Which doesn't even make sense. Why would that other character have his medal? Because I think this is yours.
Oh, Leia left this line around for you. It's like, Chewie's probably like, really? She's had it for like 40 years, and she could have just given it to me.
Couldn't even bother to give it to me on the day, and now all of a sudden, that seems fan service silliness.
Yeah, but and then we go, and there, did I feel absolutely heartbroken? It was the end of all these.
No. My daughter made another comment about that final scene. When she's standing in the desert and she buries the lightsabers.
Yep.
And a random old lady says,
"Who are you?"
Oh, who are you? No one comes past here. And then she looks to the right. My daughter said that scene from the old lady's point of view would be really weird, because the old lady would just come up to you and say, "Who are you?" Ray. Ray who? And then she looks to the right,
stares off for ages,
and just stares off into space. That old lady's probably thinking, "You're weird."
Okay.
Before she finally says, "Great Skywalker." Oh right, okay. And then Ray just stares at the sunset. That old lady must be thinking, some strange people around these parts.
They reckon the old lady was like, "Oh, do you know Shmi and Owen Skywalker from like 30 years ago? He used to live here. It's a pity what happened to them and them stormtroopers, isn't it?" I can just imagine in 10 years' time they do another film, and some like Jabba's property developments. They come along with a digger and they're digging up all these old buildings, and they come across these two lightsabers buried under there. And you're like, okay.
I want that old lady to have a TV show. I want to know her backstory.
Yeah.
What's her why is she there?
No, you want one off that kid, the kid with the broom in the last film, isn't it?
Oh, he was just discarded, wasn't he?
Just chuck him away. So, Rob, overall, I enjoyed this. I haven't actually looked at have you scored this yet?
Yeah, I gave it. Let me have a look. I've forgotten already. Was it 5 or 7? It's a 6.
now I think we've got all of these mixed up. I enjoyed this more than The Last Jedi by quite. Oh look.
So I enjoyed it more than Last Jedi, which is why I gave it 6. Because Last Jedi I gave an 8.
So I'm gonna have to retrospectively change something because I gave Last Jedi 7. This was better, so I'm gonna give it an 8. Yeah. But I enjoyed Force Awakens more, so I'm gonna change it more.
You can have 2 8s that both. You know, when you look at the overall scores on here, our scores that we've given it over the weeks, Empire Strikes Back is the best, according to us.
Yep, fair enough.
Followed by, you got New Hope, then Rogue One, which we're obviously coming back to Rogue One, we've been really positive with.
Yeah, very good.
Then after Rogue One, we've got Force Awakens and Solo.
Yeah.
Solo, which both be revisiting. Those we're really positive about, actually.
I think that's a good call, yeah.
And you see, so far we've not even mentioned any of the prequel trilogy yet, because then you have to get
very far down, aren't we? Yeah.
Then you've got Return of the Jedi. Then you've got Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Then you've got Revenge of the Sith.
Hold on a minute. No, you haven't. You got Sorry. No, I tell a lot. Yeah, sorry, Rob. Ignore me.
Yeah.
Ignore me. I'm looking at this wrongly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then as you get to as you get near the bottom, you've got Revenge of the Sith near the bottom, Attack of the Clones, Last Jedi, one up from worst, and the worst being Phantom Menace. So we've got second from the bottom. Last Jedi was, crikey.
God.
So that, if anything, even though this final trilogy is a bit meh, I quite like the new appreciation of Rogue One and Solo, actually.
Yeah.
Without all that, because there's a lot of crap around Solo, wasn't there? About it, because of the change of directors and all this sort of stuff, and a bit of crap about Rogue One being re-edited and stuff like that. But
I poo-pooed it myself at the time, but I was
judging them on their own. It's just a shame, especially watching them all week to week to week. You just wanted this ending to feel more like a big deal.
Yeah. But we have got things like Kenobi coming up in a couple of weeks now, haven't we? So
there's rumours knocking around.
Yeah, we can get out.
Daisy Ridley's doing some more Star Wars stuff as well. I've heard that rumour knock around a few times, so you never know.
I could watch all of these characters. I could quite happily watch them in more films. You do wonder, don't you, whether Kathleen Kennedy's like, I'm sick of all the hate I keep getting off it. It's just not worth the effort. Mention Star Wars. There's so many fanboys get upset over everything.
I'll tell you what I would hate to see. I would hate to see another film or TV series in which you follow Rey setting up a new Jedi Academy and failing, and one of her students goes bad again. Please, whatever they do, don't do that.
Let's do a good Jedi Academy which actually works.
Nothing happens in this. Nothing happens. It's just everything's fine.
It's all fabulous, and there's no more clones of anybody. Well,
there's
Rob,
just nothing to do.
So, what an enjoyable experience that has been. Listeners, I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have, because we've loved it. Rob has come up with a new feature moving forward. Now, we're going to call it the Wednesday Rewind. Now, we'll try our best to get these episodes out to you on Wednesdays. We've had a little bit of
might not be.
Yeah, with work and life and things.
We could call it a weekly rewind, and then there's always a
Get out.
So we'll have one episode where we talk about various bits of films and TVs that we've been watching in the last week.
Yep.
And then the other episode, which won't be Star Wars movies, we'll just do a bit of a deep dive on one movie, won't we? And it could be just something we've both happened to have watched and we want to talk about in more detail, or started knocking up a list of some blasts from the past that we might want to dig down into.
I think that's a fabulous idea. And
yes, there's a few on there.
We're always getting listeners. So, Rob, just before we wrap this up, our good friend Panda has been asking, he's been sort of like saying to us that actually we've got this wrong. And he was saying that The Last Jedi isn't as bad as we said. So, I think we're going to invite Panda on and we'll have a little bit of a Last Jedi.
That'd be interesting, yeah, because when we're saying that's second from last out of 9 films, aren't we?
I'm looking forward to hearing why we're wrong. Because maybe we could get a new appreciation for this. So, Rob, are you going to rewatch The Last Jedi in preparation for that?
I don't think you feel the need to do that.
No. Folks, thank you again for joining us and giving us your time this week. As always, you know where we are. It's wehavebeenwatchingpodcast@gmail.com. Twitter, it's @WHBWpodcast. And over on Insta, it's wehavebeenwatchingpodcast. And Rob, for the very last time, for this week anyway. May the force be with you.
See ya.
See you soon, guys. Bye.